The early morning haze still clung to the training grounds, thin and pale, like a ghost drifting over the sand. When Sophia stepped forward with her rifle case slung over her shoulder, the sky was only beginning to brighten, a faint wash of orange stretching behind the distant hills. But the base was already alive with voices, boots, and the metallic clatter of weapons being prepared for the day. Sophia walked through it quietly, her steps firm, steady, and practiced. She had done this walk 100 times before, yet today felt different, heavier somehow, as if the air itself carried judgment. Before she even reached her lane, she heard them. Low chuckles, whispered jokes, the kind that were meant to sound private but delivered loud enough to sting. A cluster of soldiers leaned casually near the sandbags, their rifles resting lazily against their legs. One of them smirked and nudged his friend with an elbow. There she is, queen of long shots. Another snorted, not even bothering to hide his grin. Let's see if she can actually hit something today. Their laughter followed her like a trail of dust. Sophia didn't turn her head. She didn't allow her shoulders to tighten or her breath to falter. Instead, she kept walking toward her station with the same controlled pace she'd been trained to maintain under pressure. But inside, a small flicker of heat rose, a mixture of irritation and something deeper, something older. She'd been underestimated her entire life. She thought she'd left that behind when she joined the elite unit. But the army, she had learned, wasn't immune to old prejudices, especially when it came to someone like her, a quiet, razor-focused woman who didn't brag, didn't boast, and didn't seek attention. A woman whose silence made insecure people feel louder. She set her rifle case down on the table and unlatched the metal clips. The rifle gleamed under the early sun-handled, polished, and cared for with devotion. Piece by piece, she assembled it, her fingers moving in smooth, deliberate motions. The click of steel locking into place echoed faintly, a sound she always found grounding. Around her, soldiers continued to throw glances her way, their eyes full of skepticism and something dangerously close to disdain. As she lay prone on the ground, adjusting her position, she could hear their voices drifting again from behind her. She's too stiff. Too slow. She shouldn't even be in this division. Each comment slid under her skin, cold and sharp. She held her breath for a moment, steadying her heartbeat. Her cheek touched the cool surface of the stock. Through the scope, the world narrowed into clean lines and distant shapes. And in that narrowing, she found her focus again, her truth. The same truth no rumor, no sneer, no careless joke could ever break. The wind brushed against her face. She adjusted her hold, calculated the distance, measured the air. She knew she was being watched like a spectacle, judged before she even pulled a trigger, but she refused to let them define her. Not here. Not today. Behind her, someone laughed again, loud, mocking, and utterly certain she would fail. Sophia exhaled slowly, her fingers steady against the trigger guard, her eyes sharp as a blade. Let them laugh, she thought. Soon enough, the echoes of their laughter would be replaced by something else entirely. The sun climbed higher, burning off the last of the morning chill, but Sophia felt none of its warmth. She moved from drill to drill with the same controlled precision she had mastered over years of discipline, hitting targets cleanly at mid-range, adjusting for small wind shifts, and maintaining a steady rhythm in her breathing. Yet every perfect shot seemed to provoke more murmurs, more sideways smirks, more quietly exchanged bets among the soldiers who circled her like vultures, waiting for a single mistake. Each time she reloaded her rifle, she could feel eyes digging into her back, not with admiration, but with an almost eager desire to see her fail. Two senior snipers leaned against an armored vehicle nearby, arms crossed, watching her with lazy amusement. One of them scratched his chin and spoke loud enough for everyone to hear. $100 says she chokes at long range. The other chuckled. She choked before that. Look at her, too calm. That's not confidence. That's fear. Laughter rippled through the group. Sophia didn't react. She was wiping down her scope, checking the alignment, recalculating wind tables in her mind. She had trained herself to respond with silence, not because she lacked the courage to speak, but because she'd learned long ago that the loudest voices often belonged to those with the least to offer. Still, silence did not make her immune to the sting. The comments lingered like smoke around her, seeping into places she wished they wouldn't. She exhaled slowly, reminding herself that skill was louder than noise. Asterisk, during the break period, she sat alone on a stack of weathered ammunition crates. Twisting a cleaning cloth around the rifle barrel, sweat clung to her temples, but her expression remained unreadable, carved from discipline. The others clustered together beneath the shade of a canopy, laughing, exchanging stories, bragging about imaginary victories and exaggerated kill shots. No one invited her. No one ever did. Asterisk then, unexpectedly, soft footsteps approached her. A young recruit, barely out of training, judging by the nervous way he kept adjusting his sleeves, stopped a few feet away. His voice came out hesitant, almost afraid someone would overhear him. "Ma'am, I just wanted to say that I saw your score sheets." Asterisk, she looked up, surprised. The boy swallowed, eyes darting back toward the others as if he feared being caught speaking to her. Asterisk, "You're better than them," he said quietly. "Way better. They know it too. That's why they keep talking." Asterisk Sophia studied him for a moment. There was sincerity in his expression, but also fear, the fear of going against the group, the fear of acknowledging excellence where others saw a threat. She gave him a small nod, the closest she could come to a smile without breaking the calm she depended on. Asterisk. He returned the nod awkwardly and jogged back to the others, pretending nothing had happened. Asterisk, but his words lingered with her, settling deep in her chest. Asterisk, she didn't crave validation. She didn't need an audience cheering her on. All she wanted was one chance, one real moment to show them why she was here. Not to win their approval, but to demand their respect through undeniable skill. She had trained for years for a shot that most snipers would never even attempt. For a challenge that would silence every casual insult. For a moment where her talent would speak louder than any rumor, any prejudice, any whisper disguised as a joke. Asterisk, she tightened the strap on her gloves, wiped a final streak of dust from her rifle, and closed her eyes briefly to center herself. Asterisk, they could mock her as much as they wanted. Asterisk, soon the right opportunity would come, and when it did, every single one of them would see exactly who she was, not the quiet woman they dismissed, but the sniper who could achieve what they didn't even dare to imagine. Alarms didn't just ring. They ripped through the air like a blade slicing clean through the normal rhythm of the day. The sharp, rising wail echoed across the training grounds, freezing every conversation, every breath, every careless smirk. Soldiers who had moments ago been laughing or lounging were suddenly scrambling to reach their stations. Dust surged under their boots as orders flew from every direction. Something was wrong, seriously wrong. Asterisk Sophia snapped to alertness instantly, her instincts responding faster than thought. She stood, scanning the horizon even before the announcement blared through the loudspeakers. Unidentified moving target detected. Extreme distance possible threat. All long-range units prepare for engagement. Asterisk, a ripple of unease moved through the crowd. Extreme distance. That meant trouble. That meant the slightest miscalculation could cost lives. Asterisk, high-ranking officers appeared almost at once, their expressions tight with urgency. The general strode forward stern, broad-shouldered, and visibly irritated. He barked at the nearest team, which sniper is on long-range overwatch today. Asterisk, a handful of men stepped forward eagerly, puffing their chests as though the situation were a gift rather than a test. But that confidence cracked the moment the spotter relayed the details. The target was moving. At nearly 3,000 meters, across unstable terrain beyond the ridge. Heat distortion, wind shear, elevation drop. At that distance, even elite snipers called it a gamble. Asterisk, one by one, the confident soldiers approached the scope, looked through it. And when pale, mirage is too heavy, one muttered. Winds shifting can't get a clean reading. Another whispered, asterisk, this angle is suicide, a third admitted under his breath. Asterisk, the general's patience shattered. We don't have time for excuses, he snapped. We need a marksman who understands MRAD down to the decimal and can fire under impossible conditions. Silence fell like a stone dropped in water. No one stepped forward this time. Asterisk, heads lowered. Boots shuffled. The bravado from earlier evaporated, replaced by the awful awareness that none of them were capable of taking a shot like that. A shot so long range, it bordered on myth. A shot requiring calculation, not ego. A shot requiring discipline, not noise. Slowly, very slowly, eyes turned toward Sophia. She wasn't even looking at them. She was already assessing the wind, gaze fixed on the ridge, calculating distances in her mind as naturally as breathing. There were, in her expression-only clarity, asterisk for the first time all day. No one laughed at her. No one whispered. The same soldiers who had mocked her now stared with something else in their eyes. Insertant Jenner asterisk. She stepped forward, not hesitantly, not nerveux. Asterisk, when